Welcome to Lepodcast episode 11. As always, you're here with Hoop, Saney, and the infamous ZZ Huncho. So I usually start off with an icebreaker, but last episode we did a segment on John Stockton, which many people found disrespectful. A clip on our TikTok of the pickup draft we did gained some traction, and the Stockton lovers came out to protest. I just want to clear up that I know me personally, I was not trying to be disrespectful. We were not talking about all-time rankings, and if you saw the episode, you'd understand that. We're not saying Derrick Rose is better than John Stockton all time. Personally, I think I have Stockton around 6 or 7. He's just not in my top 5. So that was a point I wanted to show the viewers that the best of John Stockton is not the best of a lot of other guys, but his longevity cancels a lot of that out. He has so many assists and steals. But we are going to possibly get disrespectful at the end of the show. We want to clap back at some of these comments we got on our TikToks because we're not going to sit around here and take those lightly.
Hell no.
So I don't want to. In case you
guys
are
make
like
me
a
cry
Stockton...
myself to sleep.
Gosh, bro, I was having dreams about Karl Malone last night. Oh my god.
Let's fade away from the Malone.
We don't want to spray you guys with all that right away. But at the end of the show, we are going to go on a rant about John Stockton. But before we get into today's lineup, I want to mention Chalkboard, which is featured in a new segment we're doing today called LeQ&A. You guys have a chance to get on this podcast. You can ask us a question on our Chalkboard, which is a sports Discord. The link is in the YouTube description or bio, our Instagram, TikTok bios, free app, sports Discord. There's a channel called Get At Us or like Q&A, and you can ask questions that will be featured on the show. Our first Q&A segment will happen today, which is hosted by Z. So for today's lineup, starting off with the headlines, as always, next we have Toothpick Chronicles, the Rerun, featuring Kevin Durant. Next we have Amateur Hour, LeQ&A, and We Want the Smoke, featuring John No Bag Stockton.
John, where's Carl Stockton?
All right, I'm being ironic with a lot of that stuff. I want to keep the Stockton fans around.
No, I like John Stockton. Like, I don't understand why people think we're just going at him. Like, and the thing is, like, I understand if you get a clip and you take it out of context. At the beginning of the clip, you literally say word for word a 3-on-3 pickup basketball game, and no way did you say all-time rankings. Like, I don't understand.
This is literally what TikTok is, I swear. And we've been doing it for a couple years, so like we just kind of expect it at this point. But for me, I'm like, you have 60 seconds of your time. And in the first 7 seconds, he tells you exactly what the hell we're talking about. Exactly what we're talking about. And so y'all go to the comments probably thinking to yourselves, oh my God, did he just say that Luka Doncic is better than John Stockton all time as a point guard? What? No, dude. We literally told you exactly what is going on in this video. It is a pick-up scenario. So later on in the show, when we get into it, you know what I'm saying, you're going to hear all of our points of views. They haven't changed. They haven't changed a damn bit in the past 24 hours.
I love how you mentioned that, Z, like how like it literally the first 7 seconds of the video explains it, because it's like, if you weren't paying attention for the first 7 seconds, where did the attention come from? Like, why did you just clue in the 10?
I said it twice.
Why did you just clue in halfway through the video? But let's get to that. Let's leave it for the Stockton segment.
And one more thing, I know it can be aggravating if you're arguing against us, but like we're all in unison here that we don't have Stockton in his top 5. So we are going to try to get someone on the show to debate with sometime, just so you guys have someone to,
I'm sorry, and two,
leave suggestions in the comments if you know any notorious John Stockton fans.
Yeah, if you know a creator like that, we'd love to have him on the show and debate. But at the end,
I'm sorry, guys. I texted as many old head creators as I could find on my phone, and they just all are in agreement with me and Hoop and Saney. So please find that guy. I need a Stockton fan, a Stockton stan to rise from the ground and be like, I'm here to defend this man.
Anyways, starting off with the headlines. There wasn't much, but Giannis Antetokounmpo recently mentioned LeBron James in an interview, saying that LeBron is still the best player in the world at age 37. I think we can all agree at this point that Giannis, I don't know where you stand, Z, but Giannis is actually the best player in the world.
Agreed.
So from your stars, you like to have someone humble, but what do you guys think of Giannis praising others more than himself. Do you think that's like a lack of self-respect, or do you value that?
No, I don't think it's a lack of self-respect at all. Like, Giannis has a history of saying that kind of stuff where whenever he accomplishes something, he just automatically sets his eyes on the new task, right? When he won MVP, he said, don't call me MVP anymore until I win it again next season. And what did he do? He won it that next season, right? When he won a championship, he stopped calling himself a champion. He went on and tried to win it again. Being though they didn't, I still see the Bucks. I don't see Giannis retiring with one ring, obviously, but I love how when he wins something or accomplishes anything, he enjoys that week, that 2 weeks of, feeling accomplished, and then he's right back to work. And that's what separates greats from legends. Obviously, right now, Giannis doesn't want to be called the best player in the league because from his perspective, he feels like he hasn't proved anything compared to his last seasons. He didn't win MVP. He didn't win a ring. They got knocked out in the second round, right? So obviously he wants to go into this new season with a mindset of, I got to earn my spot back. I got to go and show the league that I'm that guy. And right now, I don't want to be seen as that because I'm not going to go in with that same killer mentality if I am. So, I mean, I respect it. The guy's humble as hell. And in my opinion, obviously he's the best player in the league, but I can see why he doesn't want it to be called that right now.
And going off of what Sandy said, I mean, literally, Giannis is, I think, someone who can almost be undisputed at this point as like the best player in the league, because you look at him offensively, he's dominant. Defensively, he's just as dominant. A former DPOY, 2-time MVP, Finals MVP. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Giannis's the biggest thing to him is that humbleness, man, and I love it. I really do, because I can't say that I've seen a lot of guys really show that who are in a position like a Giannis Antetokounmpo is, where you are clearly one of the top 3 players in the world, if not number 1. But you are looking at guys like, he said it before, Kevin Durant's the best player in the world. Giannis is the best player. LeBron's the best player in the world. And so when you look at things like that, I just think that Giannis is just naturally a nice guy. A lot of people don't dislike Giannis. A lot of people like Giannis. Why? Because of his humble part of him, and because he's dominant. And yeah, I just don't think that it's really that big of a deal. I think that for LeBron, it's a compliment, being that he's 37, but I also think that us being the NBA fans and at least the media and other players, I mean, we kind of can see that this is not 2018 anymore. And we're fine with that. We're literally fine with it. But I like how Giannis's humble approach is over everything. And like you said, the willingness to get back to work literally 2 weeks after celebrating. Like, Giannis is a different breed, man.
And you said it's such a rare find to see someone that humble and that good. The only other 2 guys that I could think of that were at his status at some point are in recent history that I know of are Tim Duncan, and I think I'd put Steph Curry there too.
No, and yeah, Dirk. I know. And Dirk.
Schmirk.
Okay.
And Dirk. Think about it.
Dirk. Yeah. He's got a point.
He was at the top of the mountain.
Dirk's 10
but Steph Curry, I know people are upset by his on-court showmanship,
right?
But I don't consider that to be cocky.
That's just part of the game, especially when you're playing in like a hostile environment, like Boston, for example. You're not just gonna like shut the fans up and then not say anything about it. Like that's what wins games, like making the opposing team feel like less of a man.
But has Curry ever chirped? Like, I don't think he has.
Oh yeah, remember when Jaylen Brown? Remember he literally told Jaylen Brown like he's his dad or something.
He said, "I own your."
Yeah, he said, "I own you." Yeah.
I'm saying not in like an off the court.
Oh, like, off the court? No.
Take me off the court again, boy.
He's petty off the court. I guess he's petty off the court. Well, he'll like make a joke. He'll like make a joke about something someone else brought up. But I don't think he's ever like went at somebody without.
I know like the whole Grant Williams thing happened.
Yeah, but
I think that's what you're talking about.
That's the SPs,
but never in a serious way.
No,
I don't think
never.
Steph Curry would come out here and disrespect another legend.
Yeah, and you can even look back at 2016 after LeBron and the Cavs came back from 3-1, and they had the Halloween party, and it was all the 3-1 tombstones, and they were making fun of the Warriors, like, and Steph and them they just kept the rivalry going over the next 2 years, and then that respect from between Steph and LeBron, everybody just knew it was there. Like, those guys were not going to go out and be like, yeah, this guy, he's not better than me, whatever. LeBron literally, when asked, how do you stop Steph Curry? Just like me, you can't. Like, there's levels of, like, respect, I think, that all-time greats have, like Steph, like LeBron. Hell, even Dirk. Dirk was up there being the nicest guy ever after LeBron and D-Wade made fun of his flu-like symptoms. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that when you are amongst the greats in the league, there's a respect level there that is just kind of like, some people just can't cross it enough for the NBA to look at it and be like, oh, this is our new beef. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like it would be fun to have someone like Dejounte Murray be that good and fire back at Skip Bayless like whenever he wants. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys that hold a lot back.
Mm-hmm.
Some more than others. I know Kevin Durant likes to go on Twitter in his spare time, but I
It's
think it's definitely like it's not looked upon as greatly as it should be. Like that is a huge accomplishment, not
Yeah.
causing any beef when you're that good. So
And
props to Giannis and Tim Duncan and whoever.
Yeah.
But that's all for the headlines.
Are we heading into amateur hour now?
No, the
Toothpick Chronicles.
Toothpick Chronicles, baby.
Oh, yes, sir. All right. Well, if you've been living under a rock and you're part of the NBA community, just to bring you up to speed, Kevin Durant had a sit-down session with the Brooklyn Nets owner, and he basically said, to summarize it, it's either you fire Sean Marks, who's the general manager, and fire Steve Nash, the coach, or you trade me. And surprisingly enough, this is the part I did not expect. The Nets owner pulled a Kevin Durant and went on Twitter to reiterate the fact that he is in full support of Sean Marks and Steve Nash, and he is committed to keeping them on the Brooklyn Nets. Meaning, it is very probable that Kevin Durant will not be a Brooklyn Net next season. I do not see Kevin Durant playing with this team now that he's publicly come out and said, I don't want to be here. Like, if they're here, I'm not here. And if the owner's going to be like, well, they're going to be here, clearly we're going to see a Kevin Durant trade sooner or later. So I want to ask you guys, where do you think he heads next? Do you think it's going to take to the trade deadline, or is it going to be to the beginning of the season? And what is your opinion on the whole situation? Because this is I think this is the first time I've ever seen something like this, where the owner claps back on Twitter. I found that hilarious. But Z, if you want to start.
Bro, oh my God. Yesterday was just hilarious with all of this. Like, I was sitting there saying, like, in the past 3-4 weeks, we ain't heard nothing since KD said he wanted to request a trade. We went on this show, started the Toothpick Chronicles, and had everything lined up for what we thought was going to happen. And then weeks go by and nothing happens. Now Kevin Durant blesses us by going out there and essentially saying it's either me or your organization. Now, I think that Joe's response on Twitter is just letting us know for a 100% fact Kevin Durant is going to be traded. Kevin Durant is going to be out of Brooklyn when the season starts. And the crazy thing is that the last time we left off on this segment, I think all three of us were in agreement that we were like, yeah, he's going to be a Net next year. But now it's like he went out there and literally said, for the people that he wanted to bring in, right? And this is the crazy part. The Nets did everything in their power for Kevin Durant. And this is really hard for me as a KD fan to like give him any sort of, to not give him any shit for it. Because honestly, bro, they gave him everything. From literally the moment that he signed in the first year he was rehabbing, they still paid him that $30 million. They still did that. But it's crazy that they gave him everything. They even gave him James Harden. And then James Harden didn't work out. And now we're all the way here. And KD is hell-bent on getting out of Brooklyn. And honestly, I don't know where he's going to end up. I really don't. Because it's hard for me, because I'm looking at every time I refresh Instagram, every couple days, you see people that are giving their trade predictions, right? Boston's at the helm. Miami's at the helm. Apparently, the New Orleans Pelicans are at the helm too. They're like we're not backing away from these trades. Like, we're not going to do that. We want them. We want KD. But I just don't know where he's going to end up. I really don't. If he ends up in Boston, it just would not be great for his career from a legacy standpoint, because they just swept him. So I'm trying not to see that there. But then again, with the Jaylen Brown confusion and the drama, you just don't know. It's up
I would argue that the Boston thing wouldn't really affect his legacy because he got traded there. He didn't choose to go there. Although it would be ironic just because he went to Golden State after Golden State embarrassed him, and now he's gonna go to Boston after Boston embarrasses him. But it's not like Boston was his first choice or he forced his way to Boston. So I wouldn't go as far to say that the legacy thing would get affected. But I do agree with you on everything else you've said.
All right, cool.
My question is, how does this impact the legacy of Sean Marks' wife?
Oh my God!
We were just talking about her, but I think when it comes to Marks and Nash, I'm just reading this now in the New York Post. It says, a source close to the Nets organization indicated Kyrie Irving is not pleased with the pair either. Kyrie Irving hates these guys. He feels that Nash is terrible and Marks is bad. But did they not bring Steve Nash in, bro? Exactly. He's not a coach. They wanted a player developer and a friend. Steve Nash belongs on a team's coaching staff,
Yeah, like,
not as the head coach.
I don't know what they like. Literally, Kevin Durant had a few practice sessions with him over at Golden State because I know Nash was the development coach over at Golden State and was like, you know what? Why don't you come coach a whole NBA roster? And I'll
you can
I'll
find
be the reason
Steve Nash anywhere.
I'll be the reason you forcefully become the head coach instantly with no experience, and then I'm gonna leave 2-3 seasons later because I don't like you. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't like I understand that we're living in an era now where players have much more effect on decisions made by the front office, but I don't like how a player can make a decision for the front office and then use that decision to go against the front office. That to me is ridiculous. It's hypocritical. And that's my issue. That's my main issue with this whole Kevin Durant situation. And now I didn't even know Kyrie Irving was saying that stuff. So for Kyrie Irving to come out and say that stuff as well, it's like, guys, you asked for this. That's like me going to a restaurant, ordering a piece of chicken and being like, why am I eating chicken? I'm not paying for this. Why am I eating the piece of chicken right now? Like,
that's the one part of this whole debacle that I just can't wrap my head around. Literally what you just said, Sadie. They asked for all of the things that ended up being detrimental to this team. James Harden was there, and then the question was, how are they going to work together? Who's going to have the ball?
Then they started hating each other.
Bro. The Brooklyn Nets are literally Brooklyn Nets should have a reality TV show.
Seriously.
That is how incredibly hard for me to it's hard for me to just sit here and
keeping up with the Brooklyn Nets. I would watch that.
Keeping up with Kev.
Keeping up with Sean Mark's wife, keeping up with Steve Nash, keeping up with all of them.
Everything.
I want to know what
Steve Nash,
I want to know what they're
Sean
all thinking.
Marks,
I want to know what they're all thinking.
His wife,
keeping
Kyrie,
up with Jennifer,
James Harden, and then at the end of it, here's the crazy part, fellas. Last year we got ourselves a mid-season finale when they picked up Ben Simmons. Now it's like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? He didn't even play.
His confidence has to be so low right now.
Oh
Ben Simmons.
Did you guys hear? Just as like a subtopic, I don't want to take too long on the Toothpick Chronicles. He left the group chat, the Nets group chat, after they asked him to play in Game 4. He left the Nets, they have a group chat, right? Like on iMessage, and they asked him to play in Game 4, and he left.
Benjamin, what are you doing, brother? My brother in Christ.
This guy went on his Snap story and put DND. Like, what are we talking about right now? Like, why did he do that?
Ben Simmons is literally a kid, but it's fine. It's fine because I don't know what Brooklyn's gonna do, man. This is crazy. But this is must see TV.
Speaking of kids, Bones Highland.
Damn.
No, not like that. Bones Highland is a young kid in the NBA, and Brandon Goodwin is not so young. They were both playing in a ProAm the other day, and Brandon Goodwin swung at Bones. So I know there's not much to talk about here. I guess we could say who we take in a fight.
Bones.
I know Bones. Well, Bones ain't that big though. He's got a wingspan.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you don't have to be huge to win in a fight. Like, a lot of skinny guys are good at fighting.
Brandon Goodwin's got that NBA physicality.
Yeah, but it's not like they're wrestling. They're not wrestling, right? Like, it's all hands. And I'm going to take the guy with the bigger frame and the...
All I'm saying is
26? How old is he?
For Goodwin?
He's 26.
All I'm saying is I would take Goodwin because you said he has the NBA strength, but he does not have the NBA accuracy. My man swung, missed, and hit the ref, bro. Like, how the hell does that
poor
happen?
Ref. Like, what? Do you think he apologized?
He was just an innocent bystander.
He's also a career field goal percentage of .390.
Legend. Absolute legend.
Yeah, no, that's... I don't know. Obviously, there's not much to talk about. Like, we obviously we need to bring it up because we do want to discuss everything that's happening in the NBA. I don't know the backstory of why they started fighting, to be honest. I just saw the video. All I got to say is, there should be a public apology for that ref, poor guy.
Bones had 45, and Goodwin had 38. So it was a good game.
Yeah.
Just not for the ref at the end. Whoever that man is, we got to – no.
Let's get him on the podcast.
Send that man a flower basket.
Let's find that ref's name. Let's find that ref's name, get him on an episode, and just get him to talk about his point of view.
I would love to get some sort of amateur ref that has had a former NBA player in the game. I would love that, and we could definitely find that.
That's an idea, but I mean, there's not much to say for this.
If y'all know anyone, that would be incredible.
Join our chalkboard and drop some names.
Please.
Exactly.
We should make a new channel and call it guest suggestions.
Yeah, for sure.
And they can start bringing their input. But if we want to move on.
Chalkboard link in bio. You know what to do. We're always active on there.
YouTube bio, and if you're on Spotify, go to any of our socials, personal or Lepodcast. It's there.
We're always in that joint talking with y'all.
But moving on to another segment of Amateur Hour. I can't believe I have to introduce this, but Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, and Jalen Brunson teamed up in a Pro-Am run in the Bronx yesterday, and they lost by 13 points. I don't think the other team had an NBA player. I don't think they did.
Yo, I don't have their names. I'll pull them up right now, but there's these two guys that don't play in the league that both dropped like 40 on them.
Well, Julius got booed, as you expect.
Julius, Obi, and Jalen combined for 67, I think. All three of them combined for 67. Imagine.
Yeah, but so they're just working the chemistry, bro.
All right, I have a question. I have a question for you guys, real quick, about this segment. Do you guys know who Jordan Washington or Jordan Aaron is? No disrespect to these guys, but they both had 40 against the Knicks.
Yeah, you talk like it's the whole roster. Like they definitely had some.
It's literally two of the main pieces of the roster and one of the key bench players. You just paid $100 million for a guy that got 40 dropped on him by Jordan Aaron.
Hey, and LeBron played Pro-Am. He only won by like 4 points.
He won.
Bro. Whatever.
He won.
My question.
Who? There's no way you're trying to justify Julius Randle.
Bro, I didn't see the whole game. I just saw the headline.
All right, let him ask a question. We're trolling too much.
I just saw the headline.
We're trolling him too much.
See, this is the thing about Knicks fans. There's no winning. But my question to you is, do you think something like this, where before the season starts, Julius is already getting booed, does this move the needle in terms of the urgency of getting rid of Randle if you're the Knicks?
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. It depends. And I think it only moves the needle of urgency if Julius comes to the front office and says, I want to leave. This is I don't feel comfortable here anymore. The fans don't like me, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if Julius doesn't have a problem with the fans, I don't think the Knicks are going to really be urgent on getting rid of him. I don't see why they would. Like, just because a few fans booed him at a Pro-Am game, they don't speak for every single Knicks fan. You know what I mean? And obviously they're going to do what's best for them. But if I can definitely see Julius being like, I don't want to be here anymore because he's getting ridiculed by the fans. I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to play for a city that booed me after I lost by 13 points in a YMCA gym. But I don't know.
That's just me, though.
Like, I guess the answer to give you is it depends.
It does depend. And the reason that I started smiling when Saney was talking about him getting booed is because Saney said that as a front office, he doesn't think that they would really care. A lot of you know I was a Knicks fan last year. So there was a lot of times where I'd be watching Knicks games and I would see Julius Randle getting booed because of a shot, because of him, mostly shots. Any shot, most of the time he was taking a stupid shot. You know, he would be in the post and have two guys on him and have somebody at the wing that was wide the hell open for three. And Julius just felt like, I feel like Kobe. And that's why Knicks fans hated him. There's certain guys who have played for the New York Knicks organization over the years that have received a lot of love. Even though it didn't, accumulate into winning, a lot of love. And they may have had their flaws, like Carmelo Anthony, for example. But Carmelo Anthony was still box office,
Knicks fans
25+ per games a night. They love Melo. I loved Melo in New York. He was the guy. I
think there was more hate than love. If you were to balance out all the years,
I think Melo got hated on, especially like 2016.
Melo got hated on
when Rose got there. 26 when it was Rose, KP, and Melo. And God, I love Rose, but I can't believe he said, "Yeah, they're looking at us like the super teams, like us in the war." No, but when he was there, Melo got booed a lot of the times for taking a lot of stupid shots down the stretch, because everybody knew down the stretch, last minute and 15 seconds, who's going to get it? Melo, even though he's probably, 5 for 17 tonight. It doesn't matter. We're going to give it to Melo. Rose is chilling at 7 of 14, it doesn't matter. We're going to give it to Melo. That was why the hate started, because the Knicks organization, as a franchise, the Knicks like to buckle down on their number one option being their number one option that they're going to live and die with, no matter if they give them pieces that could help them in the playoffs. We saw it with Julius Randle. I can't believe I'm saying this, or I can't believe I said it last year when the Knicks lost to the Hawks. I think it was after game 2 or game 3. I don't know if I talked to you, Hoop, but I remember talking to somebody and saying, the fact that Derrick Rose is the best player for the Knicks so far in this playoff series is incredible to me. And he's coming off the bench for the New York Knicks. And it's because Derrick Rose plays at a tempo as a veteran point guard in the league and a smart point guard and a smart player. Julius Randle didn't have those capabilities, apparently. That's all I'm going to say. So it does depend. The needle does depend, but if I'm a New York Knicks fan, if I'm a New York Knicks fan like Hoop, I know you want him gone. You don't see any fit with him anymore. He serves no purpose.
My heart tells me that I still want him, but in terms of team success, I think he needs to go. I think we have too many ball-dominant guys. Assuming Donovan Mitchell were to come, I do think that deal is going to get done.
I heard they stalled. They haven't talked in the last 2 weeks.
I'd still expect it before the trade deadline, whether it's now or later.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do want to say before we move on is, as a Knicks fan, the role players receive more appreciation. Like
True.
Quincy Acey, Frank Ntilikina,
Yeah.
Steve Novak are all way more beloved than Melo,
right?
Or whoever did the most for
because
us.
the ball's not in their hands. They're not the ones that are always
Bro,
on stage
people
to make
love Quincy Acey.
Yeah.
Chris Copeland, you could just name off Landry Fields.
I swear to God, on my mother's life, I was about to say Landry Fields. You know
who could be in that discussion? Who could be there but isn't, and will never be for Knicks fans? Evan Fournier.
They'd say last year Alec Burks for sure.
Last year,
right.
You're paying Fournier too much. Burks was a bucket.
Right. Fournier. Now when Fournier joined the team in the offseason last year, I was like, he could quickly become.
It's too much money.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
If Evan Fournier could have been in that role though, with Steve Novak and Landry Fields and Quincy Acey and all those guys as being beloved role players, he just kind of was terrible.
And
very terrible.
And his cancer was a legend.
No.
Bro, he went and kissed the Knicks logo and then airballed.
Legend. Okay, he is a legend.
There's a couple of guys that role players in that situation. Joakim Noah, for
my
sure,
God, yeah,
that are on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Elfrid Payton. I personally love Elfrid.
Alfred Payton was good, man. All right,
but
very underrated. But lastly, for amateur hour, Dejounte Murray has been on something recently.
God.
And I want to talk about him throwing the ball at Paolo Banchero. They were in a Seattle ProAm game.
Right.
Dejounte said that ever since Paolo was drafted to the NBA, he lost his humbleness. But Dejounte proceeded to bounce the ball off another man's head.
It wasn't a bounce. It was like a hit it.
He hit him.
He
with
held
the
ball in his hand and just smacked his neck.
He threw the ball at Paolo. Paolo, I believe, is 19. Dejounte, I think, is more towards 25.
Right.
So I don't know if I want to lean this question towards how did the Spurs keep this guy intact? I understand why they let him go now, but what does this mean for Atlanta and the target they're painting on themselves?
Atlanta. Okay. Well, hold on. Let me take this one, Sandy. I'm sorry, because I Atlanta. I was thinking about this too. The San Antonio Spurs, when they had Dejounte Murray, we didn't hear a peep from that man. And the only thing that you heard in conversations when talking about Dejounte Murray is that he's underrated.
Exactly.
That was it, right? That was it. And for me, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, why is Dejounte Murray just underrated? Why is there not a lot of media attention? Well, the Spurs were a struggling play-in team, but the reason for it was Greg Popovich. It's that simple. Ain't no man, I don't care who you are, you will not act like a kid with Greg Popovich as your coach.
I can't think of one player that's had...
Exactly. I mean, Tony Parker, he was stealing wives and stuff back in the day. But, I mean,
How do NBA wives come up every episode?
Well, I mean, God, like who just said, Greg Popovich literally never had a case.
No,
like
but
this.
can you think
French
of that?
Poodle,
I know did they have Dennis Rodman for a second? But that doesn't.
They did,
count,
but when they had Dennis, Dennis started to change his hair and act
but that's
crazy.
Barely anything.
Exactly. He wasn't really producing a lot for the team, and they realized they weren't going to have him for the long run. And Dennis needed a guy to shape him up, and it just so happened to be Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan and Scottie. But back to Dejounte Murray. The Atlanta Hawks, right, I think are going to become a toxic-ass team. And the reason that I'm saying this is because we've already seen shades and hints of it with New York, right? Trae Young went into the Mecca and bowed to them. raining down. You look like a dirty lollipop. You suck. You're balding. All of that, right? Trey didn't care. He just torched them and left. Now you're adding Dejounte Murray, a man who in Pro-Am games against guys working 9 to 5 does not care. He's using their heads like it's the court itself. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. The play where Trae Young got past the dude, passed it to up in the air to Dejounte, he threw it back off the backboard and it was a dunk. Like, that's what we're going to be seeing from the Atlanta Hawks. Just fun, young guys who don't care about hate, who don't care about anything but going out there and hooping. And it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun.
Here's the thing about Dejounte Murray, though. I know you guys are talking about how are the Hawks going to contain him. Like, they brought in a guy like that. They're going to be on blast this season, obviously, because of the off-court antics. But I never like to, like, take stuff like that and apply it to someone's personality without understanding the full context. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not going to sit down and watch full Pro-Am games or understand the story behind them because it's a little hard to dig those up. Clearly him and, is it Paulo? Like, I feel like I mispronounced his name.
It's Paolo, yeah.
Paolo, right?
Paolo.
Like, they're both from Seattle, and they both obviously have had connections beforehand, so maybe Dejounte was just, like, off-put by, like, some stuff that they've talked about personally, privately, I guess, right? And in a Pro-Am game especially, like, I feel like it gets way more heated than NBA games because you don't have these fines to look out for or, like, these, like, certain rules, or you're not trying to, like, impress a coach. You're literally just out there to hoop, right? Like, just good old-fashioned basketball. And it's where you can truly be yourself. Like Z said, like, the Atlanta Hawks are going to be a fun team to watch. We see the stuff they're doing in Pro-Am games right now. I don't think Dejounte Murray is going to carry this type of attitude into the season, though, where he's constantly starting problems. Just because I've always seen Dejounte Murray as, like, a humble guy. Like, you know, like, for example, like, he's been in so many Pro-Am games because he came out and said, like, yo, to all NBA players, start playing in them so people can watch us for free. Like, there's kids that can't afford to watch us. Let them have the opportunity to watch us. And I love that about him. And he's probably just trying to stir some stuff up and, like, put on a show for the people that came out to watch him. In terms of him and Paolo, I'm not going to choose a side because I don't know the story fully. I'm just going to say that I feel like they took it too far. Like, whatever happened. But, like, to go on Instagram and start beefing on the stories and, like, unfollowing each other and making it super public, that was kind of off-putting to me. It could have just, but, like, the fact that Murray posted the clip and just spammed laughing emojis, like, straight on his main page, I found that hilarious. But at the same time, it's like, I think Murray's mistake was bringing it on blast like that to social media. I think it could have been kept behind the scenes, or at least just been a viral clip that he didn't post and leave it at that. I don't like the back and forth stuff on the Instagram stories. But other than that, I don't think Dejounte Murray's going to have a problem like this throughout the season. I feel like he'll never, like, stir things up in a way that affects his game on the court in the NBA.
Yeah, when it comes to Dejounte being a good guy and, like, oh, you know, let the kids come and see us for free. Like, if you're going to bounce the ball off another fence.
But here's the thing, like, that guy could have been talking, bro.
But I don't care how much he's talking. Like, you don't do that to another man, bro.
But here's the thing, like, we don't have any context. Like, think about those Pro-Am games, bro. Like, those guys that don't play in the league, they got nothing to lose.
Hold on, Saney. Like, another clip came out today.
That's what I was about to say.
The same thing. It's every day.
He did it again?
Like, yes, he did it again.
Oh, okay. I can't defend him like that. I thought it was a one-time thing. I thought it was a one-time thing.
He was literally on the floor.
My apologies.
The dude was literally on the floor. And Dejounte was like, bing, bing, and just kept going.
That's hilarious.
He didn't care.
Okay, no. Like, I hope they have some sort of connection off the court where they're friends and it's not just, like, some random guy he's doing that to. I hope so. Like, again, I'm not going to be quick to assume, but hypothetically speaking, if that's some random dude who has a regular job, just came to play some basketball, and Dejounte Murray bounces the ball in his head like that, okay, let's relax here.
Come on, man.
I mean, I feel like Dejounte, and I feel like Dejounte definitely does have a little bit of an ego boost after this offseason because he probably feels like the Atlanta Hawks are a contender. He's not on the Spurs anymore, battling for a play-in spot. But that is hilarious. I did not know that another video came
All
out
I'm
today.
saying is if Dejounte Murray is for the kids, essentially, in this regard, then I sincerely hope that kids that were sitting there watching the game didn't, like, be like, okay, I want to go to the park, Mom, and then go to the park and then just bing, 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 and go. Like,
well, that's what you, bro. If that's who they're looking up to.
That's what you're
exactly.
teaching. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you guys. Then I didn't know that there was a second.
That
Dude, I think it's been like 4 times. There's a bunch of clips circulating.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
But,
I mean, respect. You know what? Respect to him for playing in all those Pro-Am games.
I agree.
I'll say that.
Yeah,
but keep the ball on the court, not the head.
Yeah, and like we're talking about, like, a lot in the in the media world, like wanting young players to be humbled. And a
Mhm.
lot of times it's just for them talking, but like Dejounte Murray is someone you want to see humbled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I would not
like
mind
imagine
watching him
Kyrie's
get posted.
imagine Kyrie one-on-one just bounces the ball off his head and then just hits a crazy shot on him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want Paolo to come out and drop 50 on him.
I have never seen one instance of Paolo not being humble to the media. Like, if you're not humble privately, like within yourself, whatever, like if you want to be cocky, but he's not going to the media or on social, like going on his socials bragging about being the #1 pick. Like, I've seen no instance to him going to the media. Like, he probably said something to Dejounte while they were playing a pickup game. Like Dejounte's like, you're trash, and he was probably like, oh, that's why I was the #1 pick. You know what I mean? But it's like, bro, he's never came out to any reporter, any media outlet, and been like, I'm the best player in the league, and I was the #1 pick, and you guys are gonna wait for me. I'm gonna destroy everybody. Like, there was never an instance of that. So I don't understand where the like be humble comments are coming from. But
I'll tell you this: I've never looked forward more to an Atlanta Hawks and Orlando Magic matchup.
I've never looked forward to one in my life. I've never looked forward to one in my life.
League Pass, I'm watching that.
Oh God, League Pass.
Yeah, I'm getting that this year.
Nah, bro, put it on ESPN, NBA, Adam Silver, whoever you people are. You gotta make this televised, please.
But the last thing I'll say before we move on to LeQ&A is Dejounte should not be picking on Paolo of all people. I think Paolo is going to be filthy.
And not only that, like, bro, like in 2021, Paolo was like getting interviewed, like, what player do you want your game after? Who do you want to be like? And he said Dejounte Murray. Like, bro, who says Dejounte Murray when asked that question? Like, he's showing Dejounte love.
They're both from Seattle.
I get that, but like the fact that like a guy with that big of a media outlet right now, being the #1 pick, is out here saying like, I love Dejounte, I want to be like Dejounte and all that, and for you to go and do that to him, especially when you're not a player who gets media attention, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most must-see part of the entire freaking show, the part where you, the fans, ask us, the boys, the hottest, the spiciest, the nastiest, questions for us to answer live right here on Lepodcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LeQ&A, presented by Chalkboard HQ. Now, my job is great because I get to go into said discussion board and pick out the best freaking questions that you guys asked me, Hoop and Saney. So we're going to start off with a question that comes in from Connors19. Who's everyone's sleeper all-star candidate? Hoop, go first.
Sleeper all-star candidate.
I love that question.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind would be RJ Barrett, but that's obviously a biased take. I'm thinking a Cavalier, whether it be Mobley. I might say Mobley. I think Cade's a sleeper with that Pistons team on the come up.
You're forgetting another rookie.
A young guy like that. I didn't say rookie.
Or like you're forgetting another sophomore now. Sorry. You're gonna mention Mobley.
Are you really saying Giddey?
No, I'm saying Scotty Barnes.
Oh, I thought your Thunder.
No. Like you're forgetting like the.
I don't know about Scotty. Only because the Raptors still have Siakam.
True.
And Fred VanVleet.
I can agree with that.
The Raptors are going to be cold though.
Yeah.
But I think I'd say a Cade or a Mobley.
You can call me biased for this, but I genuinely believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can make a run for the All-Star game. Like his stats have improved literally every season since he's came into the league, and if that trend continues, he's going to be like a 25, 26 points per game player. And that having stats like that puts you in the discussion of potentially making an All-Star team. So I'm going to say my pick is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
His ability's been there, and the stats have been there. He just needs the opportunity.
Exactly, and I feel like if he continues that trend of constantly improving and his stats always looking better, then yeah, I think Shai is my sleeper pick.
I think he could definitely be a 4 or 5 time All-Star throughout his career.
Yeah,
I'm definitely leaning towards Cade. Like Hoop said, I just feel like last year averaging 17, 5 and 5 is crazy. You can say 6 and 6 or whatever. The field goal percentage was there. It was pretty good for a rookie, I would say. And like Hoop said, Detroit's low-key building something. They always kind of do this after every 4 or 5 years of being complete, utter garbage. They manage to, do well in drafting and restructuring the team enough so that they can be a playoff contender. But I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff contender this year, but I'm definitely saying that they can sneak into the play-in with what they've got, I think, led by Cade. He's only going to get better from here. And when you're starting off 17, 6 and 6 as your rookie year, I just feel like the progression is just inevitable at that point. So I will definitely say Cade. But moving on.
If I could just say one more, I don't want to, go in too much in depth, but I think another sleeper would be a Sacramento King. I think De'Aaron Fox is probably the guy.
I think I would argue it would be Sabonis over De'Aaron Fox because De'Aaron Fox is a guard in the West.
I
think Sabonis has a better chance than De'Aaron Fox to make an All-Star game.
Damn, De'Aaron Fox better request a trade. Anyway, moving forward, we got on to the next question brought to us by Purple Swaggers. I don't know what that means or if I got it right. I hope I did, but you're here now. So he said, back in 5th grade, I had a beef with my teacher because I didn't like her favorite book. So his question to us is, what player would make you kick a child out of your classroom for not liking said player?
Is this a question? Like, do I have to answer Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
Russell Westbrook.
Oh my God.
Like what? You know you should have wrote Staney's answer is Russell Westbrook beside your notes. Like you should have known this by now. But if I'm teaching a class and some kid's like Westbrook, I'm not just kicking him out the class. I'm expelling him.
Okay, cool.
I'm planting some cocaine in his desk and being like, yeah, this kid has.
All
right. Hey, it's okay. We're keeping it PG-13. I'm planting narcotics in his desk and saying that this child is doing terrible things in my classroom. And he's getting expelled.
I can't believe Sandy would frame an elementary school child.
Planting cocaine in
Bro, you got to teach him young. You got to teach him young.
But
oh my God.
I think my answer is probably Carmelo Anthony.
Word. What would be your disciplinary?
I don't know, but it would definitely come from the guy or the kid saying he's not a top 10 scorer of all time and that he was just an inefficient. Well, he was inefficient at times to frame him like that, like he was just an empty stat getter. I don't like that.
I don't think any elementary kid would ever word Melo like that. He would probably just be like Melo L. Like he wouldn't talk about inefficiency. But
Melo's good. L plus ratio.
L plus ratio.
So I guess I gotta give mine. Y'all already know what it is. You might as well just say it for me.
Derrick Rose.
But if any kid,
Eric Martell Rose.
If ZZ Huncho was the teacher and any of my children said Derrick Rose's MVP season was overrated, I would look at my entire class. I would look at the guy who I felt was most likely the most feared, and then I would whisper to that kid to beat up that other kid that just said that about Derrick Rose. I would immediately condone bullying in my classroom. And if the kid tried to run, I would just send the other kid after him.
Give him some brass knuckles.
Actually, Z, just to follow up on that question, real quick, just answer it real quick. Mm-hmm. Would you rather, if you were teaching a class, would you be called Mr. ZZ or Mr. Huncho?
Good Lord.
Mr. Huncho is hard.
Mr. Huncho, yeah, that would be what it is.
But Huncho is like a different, like other people have the nickname Huncho. ZZ is unique, you know what I mean? Like ZZ Huncho together is unique. But Mr. Huncho, I feel like Quavo could use that, or like, there's other guys that go by Huncho.
Professor Z is hard.
Oh, Professor Z would be tough. Professor Z would be tough.
All right. Well, let's continue.
It's like what's out of Professor Z. Anyway, next question is presented by LeBron Sexual. Actually, that's the name. Ironic. Would you rather have Shaq with Westbrook's speed or Jordan Poole with Andrew Wiggins' finishing ability?
Shaq with Westbrook's speed. What? This is the weirdest question.
I'll be honest, bro. I mean, it's a cool idea for a question.
Yeah.
But Shaq with Westbrook's speed is It's
the greatest athlete of all time. It's literally the greatest human specimen of all time.
That would have like conspiracy theorists.
I do like the idea.
Like trying to take his blood. I love the idea. But Jordan Poole, what was it? Andrew Wiggins dunking?
I guess
finishing. Yeah.
But that's I don't even know.
Like he's not even a top 10 finisher, top 15 finisher of all time. But Westbrook is at least top 10 fastest players of all time.
Bro, imagine
right? So
imagine taking a charge
from Shaq going 27 miles an hour.
That'll put you in a coma, bro.
Listen, to the person that asked this question, I appreciate the question. Please re-ask the question with a more realistic comparison. But I love the idea. Love the enthusiasm.
Nah, if I'm telling you, Shaq with Russell Westbrook's speed is freaking illegal. Like that could
stop a train moving at full speed.
No, speed. I show speed, and Aiden Ross just got SWAT rated. If Shaq had Russell Westbrook's speed, the FBI would be knocking on his freaking door every day, trying to figure out what he is. Where did he come from? Go home, phone home, all that. But please ask another question.
I think it would be like Steph Curry with with like KD's size or something like that.
That's
a good
one. More
defense.
realistic.
No, that's a good one. Giannis with Curry shooting.
Let's save it. That's a good one.
All right.
Y'all got ideas now.
Next one.
Yeah. Next question is from Shan76. Who's going to have a better year? Matter of fact, let me just preference this. I'm quoting exactly what the question says. Who's going to have a better year? RJ Barrett or the most handsome player in the league, Ben Simmons?
RJ Barrett.
From Shan76.
RJ Barrett.
I can see a world where Ben has a better season, but that would only be if he has the Nets to himself.
I would argue that Ben's not going to play at the beginning of the season. I would argue that we're not going to see Ben Simmons lace up at the first game of the season. He might not be there at the beginning.
That would be crazy, but yeah, I'm taking RJ.
Like, if Ben Simmons doesn't lace up, bro, if Ben Simmons does not lace up at the start of the season.
I'm telling you right now, like, have you seen any indication that Ben Simmons is ready to play basketball right now? Have you seen any reports that he's ready?
It's not like they would come out and say
they would, bro. But think about it. He hasn't played in a year. They would 100% say that Ben Simmons
this is his time to come. If Ben Simmons does not come into this year ready to play, I think we could give up on him. Like, I think coming into this season, there's still a chance, right? New team hasn't laced up for him yet. Still coming off Philly. It's been a while.
Yeah.
He still hasn't played yet.
I think if Ben Simmons doesn't play this season, he will never sign another contract over $10 million.
I think he's done after this year if he doesn't show it.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. We are now at the final question, which is presented by Seth Curry. I hope it's the real one. It's probably not.
What's up, Seth?
Seth Curry asked us, was Kyrie a snub of the NBA top 75 list, or do you think he doesn't belong on the list at all?
Snubbed easily. Easily snubbed. Bro, if you think about Kyrie Irving as a player, he's an NBA champion.
Right.
He has an All-Star MVP. He's made a few All-NBA teams.
All-Star MVP, my butt.
I'm just saying, like, I'm listing off some of his accolades off the top of my head, all right? He is arguably the best handles of all time. He's the most skilled basketball player of all time, arguably.
Right.
And for him to not be on that list, he's shown that he's a clutch player. When he was with LeBron, they were going to the finals every year. He's been to the finals 3 times in his career. There's a lot of... He should not be there over Damian Lillard. Kyrie Irving should not be there over Damian Lillard. That's literally a name. Like, if we're talking just guards...
You mean should be over there over Damian Lillard?
Should be. Sorry. My apologies.
I was about to say, what?
Kyrie Irving should 100% be there over Damian Lillard. What has Damian Lillard done that Kyrie Irving hasn't?
Dame's led a team. I think Dame should be there over
Kyrie. No, because you have to remember, we had the same argument. Legacy is included in the top 75 list, right?
What I'm saying is the way they did the top 75 list was accolades based on the era and their dominance in that era. If we're doing the best players of all time, Kyrie is 100% on that list. Tracy McGrady's on that list.
Okay.
Dwight Howard should be on there anyway. Like,
easily,
but if we're talking greatest, you're gonna pluck a couple guys off there, like Dolph Shays or whoever.
Yeah.
But I think there are a handful of guys like Vince Carter. I think has more accolades and he's more deserving than Kyrie. Kyrie simply because he hasn't played a lot of basketball recently, and while he has a ring, like him not being a first option and had any success with being a first option, like that kind of it hurts him.
It's unfair to do that though, because to say that, because with the Celtics throughout the regular season he was the first option and he would lead them to the playoffs. He would just get injured, and with the Cavs he was super young. He only had like 3 seasons with the Cavs before LeBron came.
If like he still has a lot to play left. I feel like
100%. But I'm saying
there's an easier way to look at this. I feel like, okay. Would you rather have on the NBA top 75? This is for both of y'all. Would you rather have on the top 75 list Lenny Wilkins or Kyrie Irving?
No, but like who said, it's based on era. It's based on era.
If you're going to do it based on era, there's a lot of them that stay.
Right.
And there's only a couple that are getting
like the way
out.
they did a top 25 list, a top 50 list, and a top 75 list, and every time they just added 25 players. So it's 25 players from the last 25 years, that era.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the last 25 years, Kyrie Irving is a top 75 player in the NBA. Or top 25 player from the last 25 years. 100% I believe that. I think the only point guards that are better than Kyrie Irving in the last 25 years are Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, and Chris Paul. I think Kyrie Irving is fourth. Oh, and Nash. Okay, yeah, I'll put Nash. But then Kyrie Irving's there. He's not better than Jason Kidd. Or Jason Kidd's not better than Kyrie. Jason Kidd is not better than Kyrie.
Not better, but
as
Jason
a point
Kidd
guard,
has a lot of accolades, bro.
Yeah, he does. Kidd was on.
I'm putting Kidd.
If
you're telling me to pick someone all time, it's 100% Jason Kidd. He has 5 assist titles.
Stockton has 9.
I don't know.
I'm taking Jason Kidd.
I believe that Kyrie
9-time All Defense, 2011 NBA champ. He's got a lot.
The 2011
6-time All-NBA.
He was old.
10-time All-Star. I'm taking Jason Kidd over
took
Kyrie
the team
Irving. In terms of greatness.
He took that Nets team to the finals.
Was Jason Kidd on that top 75 list?
He needed to be. There's no way he wasn't.
I don't remember seeing.
He's top 75.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Okay,
I'm taking Kyrie.
I personally, I would put Kyrie Irving on that list.
Okay.
Fair. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the LeQ&A segment, and we are now going to move on to another fun segment.
A fun part.
We want all the freaking smoke, boy. We don't care about none of that Stockton stuff y'all are talking about in the comment section, ridiculing us, calling us casuals, saying that we haven't watched basketball since 2016. Let me tell you something, buddy. We don't care that you like Stockton. We don't care. Where's Carl? What's his name? John. Where's Carl Stockton? That's his name. That's all we know him as. We understand him as a top 10 point guard all time. We get that. We all are in agreement. I have him at 6. I think Hoop has him at 6. Sandy, I think we're 7. All right. So he's top 10 in all of our books. We just want to dedicate this segment to air out why we think we have certain guys ahead of him all time. So Hoop can go ahead and give you guys a little bit more. Because Hoop is the catalyst for all this crap. So let's go.
So I want to air out why we did the whole Stockton thing in the first place. And I came on last episode and said that whenever I made a video about Stockton and Paul, the Stockton supporters came out so loud that it made me dislike him even more. And I told Matt when he came on the show, I was like, people have him widely regarded as the 3rd best point guard of all time. He thought I was crazy, but in the video we posted on TikTok, the 3rd highest comment was the Stockton slander is crazy. He's easily number 3 all time. 270 likes. I saw 2 different people comment that John Stockton was top 10 player all time. This is not like, oh, Stockton's, the 4th best point guard of all time. That's ridiculous. It's not like that. It's so extreme. And I asked the one person because I was genuinely interested in who he had in his top 10. He didn't name specifics, but he had Magic around 4, Stockton at 7, and Curry at 9. He had him over Steph Curry, which means he's going to have either Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, multiple people maybe, under John Stockton all time. And I think they look at the assists and the steals, and I don't blame them, if they're younger kids. And they just think like he was that guy. But he was 2-time All-NBA in the entire lengthy career he played.
19 seasons.
And we call him the Iron Man for playing that long, but he was just the highs of John Stockton are not that high compared to the other point guards that have played the game. And Saini, I think this is a really good segue to your part. He wants to name off 20 point guards that he thinks have a higher peak than John Stockton. Let me just say John Stockton's peak is like 17 and 14. I want to hear it. I personally don't believe that. I think it's more like 12 guys that are better than John Stockton at their peak. That's including guys that had one really good year, like Derrick Rose, Celtics, Isaiah Thomas, maybe. Probably not, but you know what I'm talking about, those kind of seasons. But 20 is crazy. I want to hear this.
All right, so like Hoop said, we are talking peak for peak. I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that any of these guys are ahead of John Stockton. Some of them are. I do have some legends on this list, of course. Do not put words into my mouth by saying I think these players have a better career than John Stockton. We are talking peak years and peak talents. These players that I would take over John Stockton if I am taking peak for peak. Now that I got that out the way, I'm going to start my list. Stephen Curry. Magic Johnson, Pistons Isaiah Thomas, Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic, Oscar Robinson, Steve Nash, Penny Hardaway, Derrick Rose, James Harden as a point guard, John Wall, Jerry West, Pistol Pete, Rajon Rondo, Kyle Lowry,
Rondo,
Peak Rondo, Peak Rondo, Peak Rondo, Peak Rondo, Peak Rondo, Peak Rondo, Peak Rondo.
Nah, you did not just. I know you're saying
peak
Rondo.
Peak Rondo.
There's no chance.
Peak Rondo.
There's no chance.
Peak Rondo.
There's no
peak Rondo. Anyway, let me finish my list. I have 3 guys left. And if you disagree with one of them, that's fine. But the fact that I'm 17 players in and now you'd say a disagreement, that should tell you something.
Kyrie Irving is another guy.
Peak? You would take John Stockton peak over Kyrie Irving peak?
And in a 5-on-5 game, I think you're undervaluing John Stockton.
All right, let me finish my list. Anyway, that's only 2 guys out of 17 players. That's 2 guys out of 17 players. Let me finish the last 3. Peak. Kyle Lowry, Jason Kidd, Celtics, Isaiah Thomas.
No. Hey, I'm not taking Kyle Thick Booty Lowry over John Stockton.
I'm talking peak talent, bro. Again, like I'm not saying he has a better career. I'm taking a peak year Kyle Lowry over a peak year John Stockton. What's wrong with that?
What are you calling peak year Lowry? 22-7.
I'll take that.
I'm not taking that over John Stockton.
I'm not taking that.
I'm mainly thinking about the 2019 playoff run as well. Like I'm thinking about like the year he won a championship. That Kyle Lowry. He's the perfect complement to a superstar.
I'm down for the John Stockton slander.
Right.
Totally. But saying that peak Rajon Rondo is better than peak John Stockton.
I think if you put Rajon Rondo, if you replace Rajon Rondo with John Stockton, it's the exact same outcome on what happens.
Okay. Well, let's.
If you put and like Z said, Z texted me this fact by the way. The Utah Jazz, by the way, had more first round exits with Stockton and Malone than they had conference finals appearances. Right. Let's understand that they're a pretty overrated team. Okay. Those two put together. If you replace John Stockton with Rajon Rondo, they do the exact same thing they did with him and Malone.
So here's my thing, right?
Exact same thing. Imagine Rajon Rondo with Karl Malone, the second best scorer of all time. Imagine the assists Rondo would rack up. Rondo is racking up assists with Jay Crowder on the wing. Imagine what he would do with Karl Malone.
So let me just say this. I'm gonna get into my little spiel, and then Hoop, you can go ahead and finish the segment or do whatever you want to do. Here's my take on John Stockton. All right, people, for those who called us casuals, right? Are you calling us casuals specifically because we hated on John Stockton? Or are you calling us casuals because you think you know about John Stockton? Let's find out. So essentially, let's go back in time to 1981 for the Utah Jazz, right? The man, the myth, the legend, Frank Layton was the first coach that John Stockton ever got when he walked into the NBA. Frank Layton's offensive system started in 1981 with Ricky Green. Ricky Green, whose assist numbers when he got off the bench and became a starter for Frank Layton and the Jazz, went up significantly. He went from 5 assists off the bench to 8 assists. He also went from 1.6 steals off the bench to 2.3 as a starter. Then when he fell off, John Stockton shows up, and he is now the new point guard for the Utah Jazz. Now, when Stockton was in college for Gonzaga, did y'all know he was averaging a smooth 20-7? He was more of a scorer back then because that was the offensive system that he was in. But then when Stockton gets into the mix, you have guys like Adrian Dantley, who were on the scene before Karl Malone showed up, and then it became Karl and John. Along the way, Frank Layton introduced Jerry Sloan, the assistant coach, to the head coaching job when Frank Layton decided to become head of basketball operations. So what do you think that Jerry Sloan did when he became coach for the Utah Jazz? Do you think that he came up with his own offensive system, or do you think that he modeled after the offensive system that was laid there from Frank Layton? As a matter of fact, not just the offensive system, the defensive system as well, because Frank Layton's offensive system focused and predicated on a point guard that could be a great playmaker. Not only be a great playmaker, but play the passing lanes to get the steals and all of that. That same defense that Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls ran through. That same offensive system that the Jazz, for some reason, thought in 1998 in Game 6 was going to work when Michael Jordan saw Karl Malone on the low block and anticipated the same play that they had ran 15 freaking seasons prior, and Michael Jordan walked over there and stripped the Karl Malone, went down and won the championship. The system that they ran had become predictable because they ran it for 20 freaking seasons, literally. John Stockton, and not to mention the fact that I did mention the fact that John Stockton and Karl Malone had more first-round exits than they had conference finals appearances. That's not even me telling you about the matchups themselves. We can go back to 1987 first round. Sleepy Floyd was giving John Stockton buckets. He averaged 23-10. Stockton averaged 10, 2, and 8. You can point to 1990 in the first round. Kevin Johnson averaged 20 a game, averaged 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Stockton 15-15, shot terribly. Terry Porter Jr. 20 in 1992 in the conference finals. Terry Porter Jr. 26 a game, 4 rebounds, 8.3 assists, 54% shooting from the field. John Stockton 18, 8 assists. 18, 8, oh my God, where is it at? 17 points, 10 assists, 45% shooting. Go to Kenny Smith, 1995. Kenny the Jet Smith, averaging 17, 5, and 56% shooting from the field. John Stockton, 17, 10, 45% shooting from the field. Not to mention the fact that John Stockton and Karl Malone, obviously we know them as the dynamic duo of durability because that's literally what they were. John Stockton had 16 seasons where he played 82 games or more. Malone had 10 seasons of 82 games or 82 games or more. But the point of the matter is, we praise John Stockton for what at the end of the day? Playmaking, durability, yes. In the TikTok clip, we were talking about pickup. And y'all thought that just because this man has over 15,000 career assists, yes, he does. He's the all-time leading stealer. Yes, he is. Why does he have that? Because of the offensive and defensive system that was placed upon him, which is not his fault. He did his thing in it. But the majority of those 15,000 assists came from him literally going to the left wing, dribbling the air out of the basketball, and waiting for Karl Malone to come to the low block so we can pass him the ball. Literally, if he didn't pass Karl Malone the ball or whoever else was on that team, Adrian Dantley, whatever, it's just him passing the ball to somebody that's turning around and shooting a mid-range jumper and making it. And that's my spill. That's your guy. That's y'all's hero.
And a lot of the comments were about, when it comes to pickup, I take John Stockton because, the other guys are better scorers, but I value the passing and defense. Like, he's an amazing passer, acting as if Chris Paul and Luka Doncic are not great passers as well. And Chris Paul, a big reason why I have Chris Paul over John Stockton on my all-time list is because he's done it with so many different teams and with different players and different systems. And he never he's had James Harden, but he's never had for an extended period of time. For an extended period of time, someone of Karl Malone's caliber to work with for that long.
For sure.
Right.
In his prime too. Like, in his prime.
Exactly.
Chris Paul is a way better playmaker than John Stockton, by the way.
I wouldn't say it's way better. I think John Stockton's playmaking's underrated only because he's a very efficient scorer. But his offensive ability off the dribble is limited. And that's why I think Chris Paul is the better playmaker overall, because he's a good enough passer. But his scoring ability is there's nowhere on the court that I'm uncomfortable with Chris Paul shooting the ball 100%. From any angle, any lean, any angle. Like, I'm comfortable with Chris Paul shooting the ball.
Shot clock winding
on
down.
Top of that,
anywhere,
Stockton also didn't even have a left hand. He literally didn't. When he would drive in on the left side of the rim, he'd finish with his right hand. He just didn't have a left hand. He literally just, I don't understand it. And the thing is that for me, I always had John Stockton in my top 5 because it felt right. It felt like everyone else had him in their top 5. It felt right. Okay. Now I have him at 6, which to me isn't that bad of a knock because he's still top 10 all time. And he's still creeping. He's literally kind of creeping into the top 5 at this point. I'm just going to see. And if Chris Paul messes up in these later years in his career, then I guess I'll slot him right back in, maybe. But the point of the matter is that the majority of y'all that are sitting here telling us that we're casuals because we are slandering John Stockton's name, you guys literally are saying your takes to match up with someone else's in a comment section. Because, if I say this, then yeah, I'll get the most likes.
It's not slander to say that Luka is the better pick over John Stockton. If you do not take Luka Doncic over John Stockton in a pickup game, there is something wrong with you.
I'll take Trae Young peak over peak John Stockton.
Hey, and that came from Sandy's mouth, not ours, but he said it.
It's better than Rondo. That's way better than Rondo.
Okay, I'll admit the Rondo's a little thing. I mainly put Rondo there as like a peak to peak thing because I'm just thinking if I were to replace John Stockton with Rondo, I think it's the same exact outcome.
If you were, Sandy might be onto something. If you replace Rondo, replace John Stockton with
was Rondo a good outside shooter though? Stockton shot 41% in his best year.
Rondo wasn't a good outside shooter, but
no, he shot 41% from 3. That's what I'm saying.
Rondo.
Rondo.
I'm talking about Rondo. Rondo was not a good outside shooter. But at the same time, Stockton was also taking 3 threes a game back then because that's just
I'm gonna take era into account too. And skill develops. So I'm taking Stockton over Rondo.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm taking Stockton over Rondo.
But if you take Stockton over Luka Doncic and you pull up to Rutgers Park and you expect anybody to take your team seriously, get the hell out of New York. Go back to wherever you came from. Please stop. Stop it right now.
I'm not even saying this as a troll. I know I have Stockton 7 now, but I can see guys by the end of their career like Damian Lillard being over him in the all-time point guards list. Right? There's a couple of point guards right now. Like in the next 20 years, I would not be surprised to see John Stockton fall out the top 10. That's not something crazy to say.
Well, that's not crazy.
That's not crazy.
It's not crazy. I think that John literally is apparently an American hero based off of the comment section, which is fine. But I also take it into account, look at the 92 Dream Team, guys. There was one significant player that was missing out from that team. And if he had played, he would have gotten way more playing time than John Stockton. That player is Isaiah Thomas, of course, who is better all time than John Stockton. And when we look at guys who were like, oh my God, what if they crack into the top 10 all time and they replace John Stockton, for all you Stockton stands out there, the bar is kind of just chilling because he hasn't won anything. And when you look back on his career, the reason that he didn't win anything, people are so quick to say, "Oh my God, he ran into the GOAT." Dude, it's not Mike's fault, Scotty, Dennis's, or Phil Jackson's fault that they literally looked at their fraudulent offensive and defensive system and exploited it to win a title. They just outsmarted them and outplayed them and out-talented them. Just what it is. Hoop, please tell them about Mark Price for a split second.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say before we wrap up is I was looking at John Stockton's All-NBA teams and where he fell during his prime years. I think I said before he was only a 2-time first-team All-NBA.
Yeah.
But there was years where Gary Payton beat him out, and don't like get it twisted. Like the first couple of years, Magic and MJ had those 2 spots locked up.
Right.
So there was a couple of years where it was tough to get in, but after that, Penny beat him 1 year, Gary Payton beat him 1 year, Mark Price beat him 1 year. So he was not by any means the top guard, like the top point guard in the 90s, just unanimously.
And
like,
for 18 of those 19 seasons, he was not even considered an MVP candidate.
And Karl Malone was first time All-NBA like 8 or 11 times, I think.
Yeah. I think if Karl Malone, and mind you, I also looked up this stat real quick. They only played like maybe Stockton only played 3 games without Malone. And in those games, which is a sample size is very small, obviously, but in those games he shot terribly.
He only played 3 games without Karl Malone.
3. It's actually wild. Malone. God dang it! I need to look back at it.
We got to wrap this up.
We got to wrap up anyway. But
it's a wild.
This was a great episode. I mean, I had really fun filming this one. Episode 11 was a banger. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to check out our chalkboard. If you're listening on YouTube, it will be in the description. If you are on Spotify,
get someone to debate us for Stockton.
Exactly. We need more people in the Q&A. We need some active members. We're all active there. So if you guys just want to have some casual talks with us about ball, we're there all the time. Link in bio if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, feel free to head over to any of our socials, personal or Lepodcast. It'll be in the bio there. Again, special thanks to Chalkboard for sponsoring this pod. And that's about it. We're about to wrap up here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys in episode 11. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.